Hi friends! Welcome back to my channel. I'm Isabel and this is my library. In today's video, I bring you my reading journal update for the month of March. Welcome back, my friends. It's time to have some relaxing and cozy time with our journals. Thank you so much for being here, guys. If this is your first time finding my channel, welcome. I'm so happy you're here. Please subscribe if you're into reading journal content and sticker book hauls and regular book hauls and keeping up with all of my bookish life. In today's video, I will be updating my reading journal for the month of March. We are already in April. I am a little bit behind, but it's time to get caught up today. So we're going to go through each of my spreads and then see if there's stuff that we can update for each of them. I will also be using my Canon IV printer to print out some covers that I need. I'll talk to you more about that when we get there. So the first thing that I want to do today is I want to update my list of books that I read this month. So let's go ahead and get started on that. I will, as always, fast forward you through this part as I am writing down the title, the author, and the rating that I gave each of the books that I read the month of March. For my complete thoughts on each of these books, I do have my March wrap-up already up on my channel. I'll link it down below for you. And I also have some vlogs where I read these books, so I will have those linked as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on updating this, and I'll bring you back once I am all caught up. Alright guys, so I went ahead and updated my books that I have read so far this year. So I read this month The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Let me underline Hardcastle. By Stuart Turton, and I gave that 4 stars. Dear Debbie by Frida McFadden, gave that 3.5 stars. Trapped in the Creepy Carnival, Edie Black, 4 stars. Audition by Katie Kitamura, 2 stars. Shy Girl by Mia Ballard, question mark? Gave it 4 stars. Of course, that rating is independent of allegations and, you know, everything that's up in the air with the book. But on story alone, book alone, that's kind of what I'm happy rating it. We Live Here Now by Sarah Pinborough, 3.5 stars, although it's also kind of like 4 stars. In the Mall of Madness by A.D. Arrow, 5 stars, my only 5-star of the month. Through Gates of Garnet and Gold by Shannon McGuire, 4 stars. And Don't Open the Oven by Edie Black, 4 stars. And again, for my complete thoughts on all of these books, please watch my other videos. All right, so it's now time for us to update my Goodreads challenge based on genres. So here is my little key with all of my Tombow colors. And I'm going to go ahead and start marking these down. And then basically what I do is I color in my book number 15, which in this case is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and that is a mystery book, so I'll go ahead and put it under mystery, and then I'll go ahead and do that for each of the books that I read, and I'll go ahead and bring you back. Alright guys, so we are back, and in case you're new here, just want to show you a little bit. So this is my key with the brush pen number that I use. I basically have talked about my Tombow brush pens before. These are it. I do have a full review up on my channel if you're interested in these pens and you'd like to know my complete thoughts about them. I have that video up on my channel. They are my favorite brush pens though, so that should tell you a lot. And I use the key all the time to make sure I'm using the right colors. And basically I just color in whatever the genre is, and I just like seeing overall, like I've read 5 thrillers already this year. I've read 5 horror books. I've read 2 mysteries. I've read 1 classic. I've read 3 middle grade all this month because I clearly participated in middle grade March. So I just kind of like a very broad kind of like look to see of, you know, what is it that I'm reading the most of? And clearly right now there's a tie for horror and thriller, which are my 2 most often read genres. So it's nice to have a visual representation of that. And the key is important simply because I have over 100 some markers, you know, and so it gets a little bit confusing when I don't, you know which one exactly is the one I'm using in my key. So this is super helpful for me. All right, so now we're going to move on to see if I can update anything for this. I'm falling behind, guys. Help! Send help! I think I'm reading a lot, you know, but I'm just not reading the things that I said I wanted to read. So I need to kind of get to it, you know. So these are all my 26 books that I wanted to read in 2026, and I can't mark anything off right now for that. Then my 18 leftover books from 25 and 25. Let's see if I can mark anything down. And the answer is no. All right, let's see the 24 and 24. I only have 9 left over. Did I read any of these 9? No. 23 and 23. Did I read any of these? Well, the answer is no, but yes. So I didn't read any of these in March, but I've already read. Oh, actually, I read the 7.5 tests. Oh my gosh, we're making progress, guys. Okay, so I did read the 7.5 tests. I'll mark it now. And we're already in April, and I already finished this thing between us. So 2 from this list. All right, so let me get my green pen. And then we're going to go ahead and mark off that I read the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. And I did give this one, this is very light. I need a darker one. Just want to keep it as a green. Okay. So I did give this 4 stars. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So I also want to mark it all around with my highlighter, creating a little border for it. And if you are new to my channel, you're probably wondering, what does that mean? Like 23 and 23. So basically, whenever I set up, these are the 23 books I want to read in 2023. I hardly ever finish them, right, that year, but I don't forget about them either. That's something that I like to continue tracking, because eventually I do want to make sure that I clear all these lists out. So I just carry them over from year to year. So these have actually been carried for the last 3 years. And so I had 13 books left over when I started this year. Now I have 2 left, so I have 11 left over. From my 24 and 24, I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 left. Okay, so that's just my way of holding myself accountable, that once I put something on a certain list like this, I want to get to that book, you know, and it might not be that year or the following, but I feel so accomplished when now in 2026, I mark off 2, 3 books that I wanted to read back in 2023. It makes me feel like I'm still doing what I want to do, even though I get distracted with brand new books that are shiny and new and say, read me. So that's kind of how I do it. Let me know if you have a similar way of tracking your books, or once you're done with that year, like 26, I want to read in 26, you forget about them if you didn't finish them that year. Or let me know also if you finish them that year, like you force yourself to finish them that year. I'm not super imposing on my TBRs. There are very few things I force myself to read. And basically those are just like commitments that I have made, or things for my very own book club, you know, because clearly I have to read those if they're for my book club. So that's really the only kind of commitment that I make, because I want reading to be fun, and I never want to force myself to read a certain book. And I'm also of the opinion that books come to us and we read them when we're meant to read them. I know there are plenty of books that I haven't read, and when I do read them, they came at the perfect moment, and I know had I read them at another moment, maybe I wouldn't have appreciated them enough, or they wouldn't have hit as hard. So I just kind of feel that way about books. So yeah. All right, guys. So now we're going to update my alphabet challenge. So this, I'm just going to write down all the titles according to the alphabet. This year, I really want to meet my alphabet challenge, guys. So normally I want to do it all the time, but this year I really want to meet it because it's 26. You know, 2026, there's 26 letters in the alphabet. Like, I feel like I have to. So I'm going to go ahead and update this now, and I will bring you back once I'm done with that. right, guys, so I went ahead and updated my alphabet challenge. Some letters are already getting packed and other letters are not getting touched. So this is probably my fault, thinking I wouldn't have enough T's, because last year I didn't have enough T's. And I added my first two thes there. So worst case scenario, I might move these around. I'll just white them out and add other ones, and then just, because right now I'm thinking I should move the perfect sun up here. I think I have to. And then the place, I guess they're both P's, so they can go up here. But yeah, I don't know why I was so afraid I wouldn't have any T's, and now look, it's just the weirdest thing, guys. So you never notice obviously the first letter of the book you're reading until you're doing something like this, and then you realize that letters that you predict are going to be so easy to find become very difficult, and then other letters become so easy. And yeah, like every year I get a lot of Y's. I never think I'm gonna get a lot of Y's, but I do, because I forget how many books have you or yours or you've, or you know. So, and same thing with W, always a ton of W's, which I don't get. So yeah, guys, that's where we are with our alphabet challenge. Such a fun little challenge. Again, I didn't mention, but if you're new to my channel, I have all my setup videos linked for you. I believe I have 17 setup videos that I have created. 17 setup videos on how to set up a reading journal, step by step, walking you through materials and all of that. So if you're interested in that, just go to my playlist with all of my videos and start with setup number 1, 2, 3. And they're very, very basic introductory videos that walk you through this entire process. And yeah, let's go ahead and now move on to my shelfie. So what I like to do for my shelfie is I just like to get maybe a color similar to something on the cover, color it in, and then put the title of my book on there. And then I just wait to see everything filled in and looking beautiful and such. I didn't mention you. I like to, normally I get asked questions about all of the pens and whatever I'm using. Sorry. Sometimes I'm better about remembering to show you or not. For my alphabet challenge, this is what I'm using. InkJoy's 0.7. I like InkJoy's. They're not my favorite pens. I love the colors. I really do. And I love how it feels on my hand. But sometimes I don't have the best luck with them and they skip. So these, for example, like this one's really good. Like this color is really good. This orange one was skipping a little bit on me. I don't know if you guys have had the same experience with InkJoy's. So let me know, because you know, I'm a pen person. I love pens, but you also know that I like all pens. So you guys know how much I love my Rolling Ball Precise V7. You guys know how much I also love my Uniball Eye Fine Pen. You guys know I love these. And yeah, I have so many that I love, but I also love my Flair pens. But yeah, I love the colors of these, and I love like the actual barrel. I feel like they feel very nice, but sometimes I have terrible luck and some colors skip. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just my bad luck. I also, by the way, love my Pilot V Razor Point Extra Fine. These are more markery. Whew, these are good. So yeah, I'll try to link whatever I can find for you so that you have some links there. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on. So I will be using, again, my Tombow markers for this, my brush pens, dual brush pens. And I'm going to go ahead and write down all of my titles, and then I'll bring you back. All right, guys, welcome back. So I updated my shelfie. I do use the Pilot multi-ball for writing down the titles. It is a little bit thicker. The tip is a little bit thicker. You can use something a little thinner. Let me see if this is one of my thinner ones. Yeah, you could use something like the Uni Pin 01 if you want like a smoother, smaller line. Sometimes I've used that one. I do try to let some of my brush pen like dry before I use it, just to ensure there's no smearing. Although those brush pens are pretty quick drying, as is the Pilot multi-ball, but sometimes it might smear, so just let it fully dry. Also, some tips: make sure if you do get your Tombow markers, make sure you click them and close them until they click. If you see here this blue, I think it stayed a little bit unlocked. Like, they do make a clicking sound. Let me show you. See, they make that clicking sound. It is hard though to get it to click. So sometimes I just think it clicks and I put it back. But that one, when I took it out, felt like it was not locked right. And I was like, oh no. And they kind of dry out. So I think there's ways of fixing it. I have to look up. I know if you wet the tip and kind of do a few things, like you can kind of bring them back to life. Also with your blending brush, I've heard some people can, do something. So I'm going to try. If not, I'm going to order it so I have a backup for it, because I want my whole set to be pristine. You can also buy these like in packs, like themed by color. I used to get them like that before I bought the whole set and committed to just having the whole set. But they're wonderful, guys, and they last forever. So I'm ready to continue. Let's see what's next. So now we're moving on to my monthly favorites. I love this spread so much ever since I created it. I really love this sticker. So my favorite for March was my only 5-star, which was In the Mall of Madness. So let me go ahead and get my little printouts. I have printed out some stuff. Well, I had it from before, but today I do have to print with you guys in bulk a little bit. So In the Mall of Madness was my favorite book for March. So I'm going to go ahead and peel that. I'll talk to you more about my little stickers in a minute in case you're new here. And then I'm going to put it for March. And that's my March favorite. Okay. Now, a lot of times this doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to be a contender for favorite of the year. There are months when I'm obsessed with everything I'm reading. And there's months that I don't like what I'm reading. So there could be favorites from a month. For example, April, man, I cannot wait, guys, to wrap up my month of April, because I'm probably a week and a half into April and I'm loving everything I'm reading. Like, spoiler alert, but I already have 2 5-stars this month. Like, what? Like, how is that even possible? So I'm loving everything I'm reading. So it varies by month, my bracket is completely reflective of this. So here for my March favorite, I do need another one of In the Mall of Madness. I have not printed that, so we're going to get to printing now. I hope this little thing is charged. If not, we'll figure it out now in a minute. All right, so let me walk you through how this works in case you're new here, so that you can figure this out. So the Canon Ivy is the mini sticker printer that I use for all of my bookish stuff. It does come with this very handy kind of app. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be adding some more pictures onto here. So give me a moment to kind of set that up. So I've gone ahead and added some more recent things. In order for you to see that, I'm going to backtrack and then I'm going to go ahead and go back to collage. All my new stuff is there. I'm going to click the 4x4. As I've told you guys, this is my preferred size, which is basically 4 covers in 1 sticker sheet. And I normally use this kind of layout. As I've told you before, I also keep very organized. I do have Post-it notes with everything I have to print for each of my sessions. I do this because I don't just print 1 book cover at a time, because I do split it into 4 and I try to print in bulk. So I'm going to go ahead and click on one of these and then find the things I need. So I actually need, according to this, I don't remember why, but I do need 2 copies of In the Mall of Madness. I need 1 copy of Don't Open the Oven. And I need 1 copy of We Live Here Now, which should have been up there. But I guess I'll go ahead and add into the blue for now till I can kind of situate myself. So I click the check mark and then I click print. Those should start printing momentarily. And then I just highlight on my post-it note what I'm currently printing. 2 copies of Mall of Madness, 1 copy of Into the Blue, and 1 copy of Don't Open the Oven. Okay, and I know because I need these things to print for different challenges that I'm working. So before I even start filming this video, to save you guys a little bit of time, I do some stuff on the back end to facilitate and smooth these videos out. Let me know if you want to see some of that back end stuff. Sometimes I think it's just boring, so I don't record it. But if it's content that you want to see, let me know and I'll include it. But I kind of go through the month and see what am I going to need to print, what's going to go where, just to facilitate a little bit of that process. Okay, so I just printed these 4. I'm going to go back. I'll cut those out in a minute. I'm going to select another one of these. And then I'm going to try to find, my battery is low, so I need to kind of hurry. I'll tell you more about that now in a minute. So I do need this Go Gentle. I also need Upward Bound. I also need Yesteryear. And I also need The House Next Door. I'm going to go ahead and start printing that very quickly. And I'm going to highlight these here on my end. I'll tell you more about everything I told you I wanted to talk to you about now in a second. So while that's happening, let's go ahead and cut these so you see how easy it is. So I go ahead and try to cut in one kind of sweep to ensure that everything is how it should be. Just kind of cut through one end, and there, that easily you have your little covers. Okay, I'll cut these now in a minute. I'm going to go back, and then I'm going to go back, select my 4x4 again, and now I am looking for the House of Monstrous Women. I'm also looking for Dead Flip, and I am looking for the 7.5 Deaths, and We Live Here Now. So let me find those quickly. The 7.5 We Live Here Now is here, and the 7.5 Deaths I know is back because that's a book that I've been printing covers for quite some time. So let me see if I can find it. The 7.5 Deaths. Okay. And again, I do a lot of this also behind the scenes. I go to Google, I search for the little book image, I save it to my photos, then I go ahead and upload, you know, so it does, there we go. So it does save up some time while I am doing this for you. So, okay, I've run out of paper, which normally I'm like, darn it, it was the last one I needed to print and I've run out of paper, but I kind of like it sometimes simply because it allows me to show you what happens in these situations. So here is my little sticker pack. And I'll make sure I have this link down below because this is probably what I get the most questions of on my channel. So I'll try to make sure that that I answer those for you by linking a lot of these things. But I've now replaced it. It's going to print out this blue tester paper to kind of situate everything, and then it'll eventually print out my little book cover. Hopefully I don't run out of battery. I do buy them in 50 packs, so they come in these little boxes with 5 of these sticker packs. They're more user-friendly in the sense that I don't run out of, you know, sticker sheets as often. Like, it gives me like a buffer. Once I open up my last pack of the sticker paper, I go ahead and place another order. Whereas if I'm ordering one at a time, then, you know, I kind of run out and then I'm like, oh no, I have to place an order. So I like doing it like that. Also, see, this is that kind of tester page that prints out. And I also was telling you about the Canon Ivy. They do have the Canon IV2 out already. I've had my Canon IV for so many years, guys, and it's still good. The battery is what's kind of like depleting a little bit, but it's still pretty good. If you keep it charged and if you like power it off when you're not using it, you shouldn't have a problem. But I am tempted to get the new one. I have recommended to a couple of you guys. I've linked down below the new one. I know a couple people have bought it. I'll go ahead and link it in this video as well, but you can find it linked in all my other stuff. But the Canon IV2, I've heard great things about. It's just as good as the original, you know, and probably even better because it's new technology. So I'd love to get to it. I don't want to get it just yet until this one kind of dies because I'm attached to it. But yeah, so once I'm done printing everything I wanted to print today, I'm just going to power it off. See, my battery is flashing kind of red. I'll put this to charge so it's ready to go for the next time that I need it. The app is so easy to use, and overall this is easy to do. I have said before on my channel that you can also print your little book covers on your Cricut. First of all, you can just print them on regular paper and then glue it. I recommend that you use something like the Tombow adhesive tape, but you can also just use a glue stick. I see plenty of people doing that. I also, if you have a Cricut, you can totally make these on a Cricut. I have shared with some of you before the measurements for that. If you are interested in that, just let me know. But you could do it on the Cricut. I prefer doing it on my little printer simply because I don't always have set up on my desk, my Cricut. And I just find that it takes a little bit longer to kind of, you know, do that on the Cricut. It's a little more time consuming. If you have a Cricut, you know what I'm talking about. But a lot of things have to go right sometimes for the Cricut to be flawless. At least for me, because I don't have that much practice with it. Maybe if I did, it'd be kind of smoother. But you can do it in different ways. You don't necessarily need a sticker printer. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and put down my March favorite. I'm going to label it March favorite. I'm going to go ahead and find a couple things here. I'm going into my little case to get my eraser. You guys know in my setup videos, I talk about how important having an eraser is when you are doing all this stuff. These are my favorite kind of erasers. So I kind of pencil everything in and then just very quickly erase, and it works very well. All right, so now my March favorite is here. I do keep, when I do my printouts of stuff, if you see here, I've told you guys before, I keep all of my little stickers inside this little pouch because sometimes they'll get lost. So I like to keep them there. Now, my favorite of these three that's going to go to the quarterfinals is definitely 11/22/63. So I do need to print that out. I did not print that out. So that's now going to get added to my little list of things I have to print out. And I will print it next time and put it right here. Okay. So now we're ready for 5-star reads. So I only had one 5-star read this month. And again, that was in the Mall of Madness. That's why I needed another one. And it's good to just take inventory of all the things you're going to need. That way you did all of your printing, you know, in bulk. Clearly, you always end up forgetting one or the other. So I went ahead and added that here. When I did set up my reading journal for 2026, I did do 2 spreads for 5-star reads. I'm being ambitious, as I always am. But if you know that you don't give a lot of 5 stars, maybe keep it to 1 spread. Last year I did use both spreads, but only by a little bit. The second spread was kind of empty. So here's my Read the Rainbow challenge. So I've already kind of looked. I didn't read anything that has a pink cover. Well, I kind of did, guys. You know, if we think about this, do you think this counts? I think this counts. So now I might need another one of these or for later, but I think I'm going to use this. I think this does count, guys, for pink. I for some reason thought this was very lime green, but apparently I think this will be pretty close to my pink cover. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use this for pink. The Rainbow Challenge is basically trying to read different colored covers. I don't try to read anything with a different color. It just happens organically. So as I'm reading things, I try to see where I can put them. And again, all of these things are for fun, guys. Like right now, it doesn't matter if like everyone doesn't think this is pink. I'm gonna count it as pink and I'm putting it down. Have fun with your reading journal, guys. Like that's what these things are for. You know, you make your rules and your exceptions and everything else that you want to do. All right, so it's time for our Tetris game. So we're gonna go ahead and start playing Tetris. And this is so much fun, guys. So basically, I am using for these my Crayola Super Tips. That's what I'm using for these. And these are the colors that I am basically using. So I decided to do this for the first time in my reading journal this year. And it's been so much fun. I am a gamer, so I enjoy anything that naturally has a gaming component. So it's basically based on genres. And the way I challenge myself is I go in the order I read the books in. So right now, the first thing I finished in the month of March was The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and that's a mystery book. So right now, this is the piece I'm going to be drawing out, and this is the piece that I have to figure out where it goes. And I do that because I want to challenge myself and not just put things where I think like they'll fit in best and, you know, cheat. So I want to challenge myself. So this is that shape. So I think I'm going to put this one here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that's going to be the shape. So I go ahead and color it in. And that's my first book that kind of, you know, fell in. And I always like to play the little game. Oh, it's falling. And I place it right there. And then I'm going to move on now to Dear Debbie, which is a thriller, so on and so forth. And I'll see where I put things. So I'm going to kind of fast forward you through this part and bring you back once I am done. All right, guys, so we played a little bit of Tetris and that was fun. So I did thankfully get a lot of these blocks, which I needed. Now I need some of these that are going to go down and click and click. Hopefully I can get some of these shapes in, like the manga or graphic novel shape or the mystery shape. We need some of those. But again, so much fun. I'm loving this challenge. So then we move on to the Haunted Library Book Club, which is my book club. In case you didn't know, I do have my own book club. It is a lot of fun. We read once a month a book together. It's either horror, mystery, or thriller-ish. We have a live show each month. I do have a Discord channel where we not only talk about the books, but just everything in general. And the Discord is also just a Discord for my YouTube. So we also talk about stationery, and people share their spreads for the month, and we talk about what books we're reading and movies we're watching and things that we're doing. So it's a lot of fun. Great people on that Discord. If you would like to bond a little bit more with me and some of my subscribers, join the Discord, join the book club. Everything is free, of course. I'll have it linked down below, but it is linked at the top of my profile. So join us. I would love to get to know more of you guys and bond a little bit with you. So I'm going to go ahead and add here my rating for my March book, which was 3.5, but more like almost a 4-star. It depends on the day. Right after my live show, I was at a 4-star. When I first finished reading, it was like a 3.5. So that's where we are right now. I am going to add my April, May, and June selections. So again, in case you want to read with me, let me share this with you. This is my April book. And this is, oh Lord, my May book. April, May, and June. So that's what we're currently working with in my book club. So I'm going to go ahead and add these two there. You're still in time to read along with us for this month of April. A Box Full of Darkness by Simone St. James. Love her and her books. So far, quite a few people have finished the book, believe it or not, on the Discord. They've been talking about it and they've really liked it. They've really enjoyed it. So I'm excited to see if I like it too. And this is the May book, my most anticipated book of the year, The Library After Dark. I'm currently sitting on my physical ARC copy and I'm trying to hold on a little bit to read it. I do want to read it before it comes out so I can post my stuff, but I did make it my book club selection of May, so I want to read it at the very, very beginning, like the first day of May. So then this is the June selection. The Ending Writes Itself by Evelyn Clark, which is written by a duo of writers. So this, oh no, this should be exciting. I didn't leave space for my month. This is what I love about these things, guys. Did you see? I made a boo-boo. I didn't leave space for my month, and I just peeled it right off. No big deal. The sticker still works. The page wasn't damaged. I mean, can't go wrong, guys, with these little stickers. Okay, and that's my June one. So that's where we are with the Haunted Library. Read along with me. Join me. It's a lot of fun. So now we're going to, let me put my super tips away for a minute. Now we're going to go ahead and move on. My Bestie Book Club. So I did finish reading The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn. I do want to go ahead and mark off my star rating for this. I did give this 4 stars. So I'm going to color these in. This is my book club with my best friend. It's a pretty laid back book club. We're being too laid back, I think. Right now, we haven't selected our next book yet. Normally, we read anywhere from like 10 to 12 books a year. It's not a monthly book club. It's whenever we have free time book club, which is why it's difficult to manage sometimes. But yeah, we will be meeting soon to pick our second book if life allows us to and move on with that. Read Christie challenge. I'm falling a little bit behind. I haven't read my Christies for February or March, so I am hoping I can fix that for April and I can read a Caribbean mystery. And eventually, hopefully, I can get caught up. But I do participate in Read Christie each year because I love Agatha Christie. And my goal, one of my goals in my life is to read them all. So we're moving on to the Buzzword challenge. So this is a challenge put together by Kayla from Books and Lala, booktuber that I really admire. And this is something I've been participating in for years, way before I was a booktuber myself. And it's basically just trying to find or read things that have certain requirements in the title or the cover. I find that the cover book challenge is way easier than the word one. But let's see. So all I was able to see that I was able to do or complete this month is November, the instructional title. So it's basically a title that tells you something. And I just used that sticker. So I'm going to need to print out another one. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to my list of stickers that I need to print out, because what I had there was don't open the oven. That was the instructional title that I was going with. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. Don't open the oven. I need a copy of that. So that's going to go there. There's different ways you can play this. Of course, well, you can do whatever you want, right? But some people like to read the book that month. I like to let things happen organically. So as they are happening, I am filling it in. And then toward the second half of the year, I'm more purposeful in picking the things that I haven't gotten to. I just feel like I like that pacing. I enjoy that more. So as you see here, the Buzzword cover challenge, I have made significant progress. For April, the requirement was accessories, and I kind of went with Shy Girl and the little bow accessories that are a big part of the book. So it is on the cover. The little bow accessory is around the dog's neck, and that's kind of like a big deal in the book. So I wanted to go with that. Again, accessories could be anything, right? Wings, We Live Here Now is what I picked because there are birds flying around the cover. And we know, well, I know because I read the book, but ravens are like a big part of the book. So I enjoyed including that because it's not just something, again, that's on the cover, but it is a big part of the book. And all of these printouts, if you're interested in doing these reading challenges, Kayla has them all as a part of her Buzzword announcement video that she put together, and you just print them out according to whatever size you want. If you're looking for a journal size, it's the A5 journal size that I print out. They also have bigger ones, smaller ones, you know, for all your needs. A metallic element, so 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle has like metallic all around. This is actually gold foiling. So then we have the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which we're going to put for the metallic element. And wow, guys, this is almost done. I'm so excited about this. I only have 3 more months to go. And again, if you like to read them each month, that's wonderful. But I've told you before that I enjoy keeping my TBR as open as possible and putting as little constraints as I can. And I'm still reading the books, just in different months. I do have rules though. I can't have more than one. You know, if I'm using this for metallic, I can't use it for the border. You know, this would qualify for both of them. I'm only using it for this. So I only allow myself to use one book for each of the categories, one book for each of the categories. So that's a rule that I have for me. I can use them for both challenges, but I do like to keep it separate in that sense. All right, guys, so we are almost done with the Buzzword challenge. So I can't believe it. This one, I definitely need to get some work done. All right, so now we're moving on to my years of publication. So basically, you guys know that I kind of went back and forth as to how I wanted to kind of get this done, right? And finally, I was able to decide how I wanted to do it because it looks very different from mine from last year. And so basically, I'm just tracking the years of the different books that I'm reading each month. So I assigned different colors for the different months, and they just kind of have to go with whatever the main color is for that month. So for example, February, I did this kind of cranberry color, and then was this bluish color. So if I go back to my March one, I kind of set it up as like this darker blue maybe. So I'm going to try to find a blue that I haven't used that looks a little bit different from that. So I'm going to find myself like a bluish kind of color, and then I'm going to write down the dates for the years of publication of everything I read this month, and then I'll bring you back. guys, so I was able to update my publication dates. As you guys see, the majority of everything that I've been reading is 2024, 2025, 2026 release dates. I had one 2018. Everything else was right up here. So I do read a lot of those recently released books. And yeah, that's now been updated. So nothing to update here. Oh, yes. Well, no, I finished this in April. So I will be updating this very soon, but it's not a March read for me. So not updating it right now. Let's see here. I did read a couple things from KU. So I read Dear Debbie. I'm not sure if I have it here. I do. So I'm going to go ahead and mark off Dear Debbie as something that I did read. And I'm going to be highlighting that. This is just me keeping track of all my Kindle Unlimited reads. So I read that. I did read other things on my Kindle, but they were ARCs. So that's pretty much everything for this month. However, in April, I've already started reading more things on Kindle Unlimited. So there will be more updates for next month. So now we do have to play the Blurb game. So the way the Blurb game works is I look at all the books that I read this month and I look to see if they have been blurbed by either an author that I have on my shelves waiting to be read, or more specifically, a book and an author that's already on my shelves waiting to be read. And then it just becomes part of my TBR. So far, because of the Blurb game, I've added The Book of Accidents, Boys in the Valley, and The Lying Game. Let's see if we're able to do that. I'll go ahead and, of course, speed you through this part as I am looking at each of those physical copies of books that have been blurbed by different authors. Alright guys, so we went ahead and added 2 books to the Blurb game. None of this is True and Guillotine, and everything else was either ARCs or digital copies of books, or they were indie published books that didn't really have a blurb. So I think this is what we're going with for right now. I do need to make it a point to read these because I've been slacking on this as well. All right, so time to add a couple more things to here. So Read with Jenna for the upcoming months has announced that they are making Upward Bound the next book choice. And I am interested in this, so I'm adding it to books that potentially I want to read. As you guys know, I add the books that I am interested in, not all of the Read with Jenna Reads or the Good Morning America ones, only the ones that I'm actually interested in reading. So then for Good Morning America, they did announce Yesteryear as a selection, and I am interested in reading that at some point. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to the books I am interested in reading. I managed to read Audition, and I gave it 2 stars. So let me go ahead and firstly update that with the 2 stars. See, this is an example of the ink joy is like kind of failing me a little bit. I find that if I don't like kind of test them out before they do that, I'm not sure why. It's doing it a lot on this paper, maybe because I'm not really writing on anything. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and outline that just a little tiny bit, because I do like doing that for books that I have already read. Going to outline that. I'm outlining this with my Sharpie S Note. I like using these as markers. Haven't read this. Caretaker is on its way to me, so I will be reading this soon. I did get my March recommendations. I will be adding that now for my TBR. It's a subscription service that I do where they recommend books to me that they think I will love based on my interests. So let me go ahead and quickly add my March ones. I am a little bit behind. Normally, I do a better job of reading these because usually they end up being books I really like. All right, but I am a little bit behind. Let me add these. So they did recommend to me an older work, which I already had, and that is The House Next Door. So that's on my list of things that I want to pick up. They also recommended to me House of Monstrous Women, which I have checked out from the library, and I featured that in one of my haul videos. And they also recommended Dead Flip, which is a book I was not even aware of. It was not on my radar. So there's that. These are the books that they recommended for me. So Reese's Book Club did choose Into the Blue by Emma Brody as one of their selections, and I am definitely interested in this one, so I am adding it there. And then Oprah did choose Go Gentle by Maria Semple, and I am interested in reading this, so I'm gonna go ahead and add it right there. All right, so those books have now come into my radar. I did add all of my March selections for my book clubs. I will add April ones in April when I do my April setup. Same thing with my pre-orders. And now we're going to go ahead and jump to updating the month of March. These are all of my reviews. This was February. And then we get to March, and we'll play bingo, see if I was able to win anything. Let me get a blue pen. And so The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hugo, I did read this. And I'm going to find that same teal highlighter. I think it was this one. Let me double check. No, it's not this one. It's this one. All right. So I did read this. I did read Audition. I did read We Live Here Now. I did read Dear Debbie and Trapped in the Carnival and In the Mall of Madness and Don't Open the Oven. I did not read Nostalgic Nightmare. I did read Through the Gates of Guarded and Gold. I did read Shy Girl. I did not read It Came from the Closet, Elephants Can Remember, or Waiting for Godot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those were the 9 books that I read. So I think I'm doing pretty good, guys, in keeping up with my TBRs. I know I'm not reading necessarily everything, but I think I'm reading a lot of it. And that's that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to update some stats right here. I'm also going to see if I got bingo. I will fast forward you through that because that requires some thinking. And then I will go ahead and bring you back. All right, guys, so I went ahead and updated this, wrote down my page count and my average star rating. And I did find that a lot of my books fit into some of the book bingo prompts, but I didn't get a bingo, guys. Can you believe it? And I feel like these bingos have been more difficult. So I buy these from Etsy. I get so many questions about these book bingo sheets. So I do get them on Etsy, guys. I have looked for like this particular shop before and I have not found it. But I always tell when I get asked this in the comments, just search up, you know, book bingo or reading bingo and you'll find so many. And I just buy them as printables and I print them on my own. And this set that I am doing this year, 2026, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You need 5 for the bingo. And it's so difficult, guys. Last year I had one that had 4 and it was way more manageable. So I think in January I got a bingo. Let me double check. Actually, I did not. So January I didn't get a bingo. February, I barely got any even like highlighted ones. And then in this month, I was not able to get any either, believe it or not. So yeah, it's been very difficult. And so these were the reviews that I was able to get done. If I can review, so I reviewed The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, Through Gates of Garnet and Gold, and Shy Girl. I did 3 out of the 9 books. I do have to set up my April month. I will see if in my next couple videos I can do maybe one more review, and if I cannot, then I'll just, because of time, you know, I'll just move on to April. And that's kind of how I've been doing it lately, guys. If I have time to do a lot of reviews, I do them. If I don't, I don't, and I just move on to my next month, because I find that if I don't do that, I'll never let go, and I don't move on to my next month. So next time you see me, I will either be doing some reviews or I will be moving on to setting up April. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for spending so much time with me, planning everything out and catching up on everything that I read in March. I hope that you were able to get some stuff done in your reading journal too, or you were doing something productive with me. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed yet to my channel, please make sure you do so. Like this video, leave me some comments. Let's talk in the comments down below. Do you have any questions for me? Have you read any of the books that I read this month? Did we give it similar ratings? I would love to talk to you in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you in my next video. Bye.